Hello and welcome. Tonight we'll be gently drifting, not through a field or a forest, but through the silent corridors of a structure quietly orbiting more than 250 miles above Earth's surface. A place where every breath is measured, where footsteps make no sound, and where sleep comes, not in a bed, but in a small fabric cocoon tethered to a wall. We'll be visiting the International Space Station, or ISS, one of humanity's most ambitious creations. Yet, far from the polished glamour often shown in highlight reels, life aboard the ISS is far more ordinary, uncomfortable, and at times quietly unsettling. This isn't a story about rockets or dramatic launches. It's about the rhythms of daily life in zero gravity, the peculiar discomforts, the quiet routines, the strange little details that are easy to overlook, but hard to forget once you know them. We'll begin by immersing ourselves in what it might feel like to live just one single day aboard the ISS, from the moment you wake floating to brushing your teeth with recycled water, and ending with sleep in a dark, softly humming module. Then we'll remember a tragedy, one that unfolded in near silence aboard Soyuz 11. The only crew in history to perish in space itself. Later, we'll explore the curious case of bacteria discovered clinging to the outside of the ISS in the vacuum of space, a mystery still not fully solved. And finally, we'll follow the quiet, slow life of a Russian cosmonaut who spent over 437 days in orbit, a year and a quarter without touching Earth. So if you're ready, find a comfortable position, allow your breathing to settle, and let's begin with your first and only full day aboard the International Space Station. You open your eyes slowly, but there is no soft dawn light spilling through curtains, no gentle warmth of the sun filtering into a familiar room. Instead, a pale, steady glow from a row of soft, cool LED lights runs quietly above you, casting a calm, even illumination across the small, confined space around you. The light does not change. It does not brighten or dim. It simply exists in a constant, gentle presence, like a distant star in the endless darkness. The air hums softly around you, a subtle, mechanical symphony of fans and pumps working tirelessly. This is the sound of the International Space Station itself, a machine alive with quiet motion, breathing softly in the vacuum of space. It is both soothing and oddly alien, a reminder that you are far from any familiar earthly soundscape. No birdsong, no rustling leaves, no distant traffic, just this steady, ambient pulse, a heartbeat of metal and air. Your body feels different, unmoored from the constant tug of gravity. Your arms drift upwards beside your head. Your fingers lazily unfurl like underwater tendrils. Your legs float freely, weightless and slow, as if you were drifting in a gentle, unseen current. The sensation is at once strange and peaceful, but it also carries a subtle sense of disconnection from everything you have ever known. There is no solid ground beneath you, no mattress pressing against your skin, no pillow cradling your head. Instead, you are enveloped in a sleeping bag, tethered securely to the wall of your tiny cabin, a small compartment no larger than a closet. You unzip the sleeping bag with slow, careful movements, mindful not to let yourself spin or float uncontrollably. Your body must learn a new kind of balance here, one not defined by the pull of Earth, but by gentle tugs and pushes against handrails and walls. You push gently and begin to glide down the narrow corridor, your hands and feet seeking familiar grips. Each motion sends you drifting gracefully through the air, a slow dance of momentum and counterbalance. The air smells faintly of metal and recycled oxygen, dry and clean, without the rich aromas of earth, rain, or forests. The temperature is carefully controlled, steady and cool enough to keep you comfortable without ever fluctuating. It is a space carefully maintained by countless unseen systems, each working in quiet harmony to sustain life far from the home planet. Your senses adjust to this new world. Sight and sound take on a different meaning here. Objects float, untethered, gently bobbing in place. Sounds are muted and constant. The station's fans and pumps create a soft background hum that you quickly come to recognize as the station's own breathing. Morning rituals are entirely transformed in this environment. You move to the small hygiene station, a compact area designed for the most basic needs. Here, water does not flow from a tap in a steady stream, but forms into floating droplets that cling stubbornly to surfaces, drifting slowly through the air. Brushing your teeth requires a small squeeze of toothpaste onto a tethered toothbrush. Spitting is not an option, so you swallow the paste, a strange habit you quickly grow used to. Washing your face means wiping it gently with damp cloths, carefully managing moisture in a place where excess water can cause trouble. There are no showers here, no sinks to run. Cleanliness is a delicate balance, maintained with minimal resources. When nature calls, you use a suction device designed to work without gravity. This narrow tube equipped with a funnel must be held carefully in place, the waste securely collected to prevent contamination. Privacy is scarce. The walls of the station are thin, and sounds travel lightly through the cramped quarters. You share these close spaces with 5 or 6 other individuals from different countries and cultures, bound together by a shared mission and the small, constant discomforts of life in orbit. Your body is still adapting. Fluids that once poured in your legs now shift upwards, causing your face to puff slightly and your legs to appear thinner. There is a fullness behind your eyes, a subtle pressure that can sometimes blur your vision. These are the effects of microgravity on the delicate systems that have evolved to function under Earth's steady pull. It is a slow adjustment, and for many, it brings discomfort, dizziness, headaches, even nausea. Space adaptation syndrome, as it is called, affects astronauts differently. Some experience only mild disorientation. Others struggle for days with waves of queasiness that make even the simplest tasks feel monumental. Yet, through routine and discipline, the body begins to acclimate. The daily rhythm aboard the station is slow and precise. Each movement must be deliberate, without gravity to hold you down. The very act of moving through your day becomes a continuous exercise in control and awareness. There is no rushing here. Haste leads to floating of course or bumping into delicate instruments. Food, once a source of pleasure and nourishment, takes on a more functional role. Meals come in vacuum-sealed pouches or freeze-dried packets, rehydrated with water before consumption. The taste is muted, the senses dulled by the environment. Your palate less sensitive in microgravity. Flavors are subtle, textures altered, and every bite requires care. Crumbs and droplets are dangers. They float freely, threatening to clog vents or interfere with electronics. Eating becomes a slow, mindful process, sometimes a reminder of home, sometimes a bland necessity. Special occasions bring small comforts, holiday meals carefully prepared and shared, moments of connection through rituals that echo Earth's traditions, despite the thousands of kilometers below. Different space agencies bring their own culinary traditions, from the spice-heavy packets favored by some to the more basic staples preferred by others. It is a quiet celebration of diversity, held within the tight confines of this orbiting vessel. Work on the station is a measured cycle of scientific experiments, maintenance, and monitoring. You spend hours tending to delicate plant growth chambers, studying the effects of microgravity on cells and materials, or managing the station's complex systems. Routine checks ensure that cables, filters, and waste systems function correctly. The tasks are vital, but repetitive, a steady hum of purpose that can both comfort and weary. Exercise is not optional. Without 2 hours of daily workouts, muscles weaken and bones lose their density. Specialized equipment simulates weight-bearing activity, treadmills with harnesses, stationary cycles, and resistance devices. Working out is awkward. Sweat does not drip but floats in droplets, requiring careful management. The smell of effort is faint, contained within the tight spaces. Social life is a delicate balance. Living with half a dozen others in a space smaller than most apartments means privacy is nearly non-existent. Personal space is a luxury. Sleeping quarters are separated only by thin partitions. Personality clashes, cultural differences, and the strain of confinement require constant effort to manage. Shared jokes, music, and video calls home provide relief and connection. The view from the station's cupola window offers moments of quiet awe. Earth drifts below, a fragile blue orb wrapped in clouds, rivers and deserts. Auroras ripple in the poles, lightning flashes in distant storms. The sun rises and sets every 90 minutes, a constant reminder of the station's rapid orbit. This breathtaking sight is a source of comfort and perspective, even as it becomes part of the station's constant background. When night falls, or rather, when scheduled sleep periods begin, since darkness and light cycle rapidly in orbit, you return to your sleeping bag, tethering yourself gently to the wall. Without gravity, your body drifts freely, arms and legs floating like slow-moving clouds. Sleep is a different experience here. You cannot lie down. The concept of lying itself feels foreign. You use eye masks and earplugs to block out the mechanical hum and the unchanging glow of artificial light. Melatonin supplements may aid the process. Sleep is elusive. Some describe lucid dreams. Others struggle with space insomnia. The mind, untethered from the usual earthly cues of day and night, wanders in rhythms unlike those on the ground. Yet eventually, the body yields to rest. This is a life of small discomforts and continuous adaptation. The extraordinary becomes ordinary, and yet it is a place you would find difficult to endure for long. And now, having imagined yourself through this strange and weightless morning, with all its sights, sounds, and subtle challenges, you have begun to understand why, quite simply, you would not last a day on the International Space Station. Imagine yourself stepping back to the early 1970s, a time when the idea of living in space was both thrilling and uncertain. The space race was heating up between the United States and the Soviet Union, a competition not just of technology, but of human will and endurance. Space was no longer just a destination for brief visits. It was slowly becoming a place where people might one day live and work for extended periods. Imagine looking out a small window at the thin line of atmosphere, a glowing blue crescent against the blackness of space. Among these pioneers was a crew of 3 cosmonauts, Georgy Dobrovolsky. The Soyuz 11 spacecraft undocked from Salyut 1, beginning its journey home. At first, everything seemed normal, the Earth below growing larger, the craft's systems functioning as expected. Inside the cabin, the pressure dropped rapidly, leaving the 3 cosmonauts exposed to the harsh vacuum of space. Viktor Podsayev and Vladislav Volkov. This valve was crucial for maintaining balance during certain phases of the flight, but it was never supposed to open during re-entry. When the Soyuz 11 capsule landed, search teams rushed to open the hatch, only to find the crew unresponsive. The cosmonauts had died during their descent, victims of a silent suffocation unlike any other. New safety protocols were introduced. Cosmonauts would wear pressure suits during launch and re-entry, a protective barrier between them and the unforgiving vacuum. Systems were improved to add multiple redundancies, ensuring no single failure could result in loss of cabin pressure. They were entrusted with a mission that held great promise. No sound, no air, no warmth, only the endless night beyond. Outside, the void of space stretched endlessly, indifferent and unforgiving. In the silent capsule, high above Earth, 3 men gave their lives to open a path for future explorers. Their story is not one of failure, but of human determination and the relentless pursuit of knowledge, but also great risk. There was no sound, no warning bell, only the slow, creeping absence of life-sustaining air. Today's astronauts benefit from their experience, continuing to explore while wrapped in layers of protection and meticulous preparation. The thin barrier of air that surrounds you, taken for granted, is the very essence of life. Their destination was Salyut 1, the first space station ever launched. Engineers poured over telemetry data, spacecraft design, and mission procedures, seeking answers to how such a catastrophic failure could occur. It became clear that a mechanical fault had caused the valve to open prematurely when the service module separated from the descent module. It was a marvel of engineering, a small, cramped laboratory floating hundreds of kilometers above Earth, offering a chance to study what it meant to live in orbit. Imagine the moment a crew boarded the Soyuz 11 spacecraft. The air inside was recycled, dry, and sterile, carrying the faint metallic scent of spacecraft materials. Their suits were lightweight and designed for comfort in zero gravity, but offered little protection beyond the confines of the craft itself. With the roar of the engines and the gentle press of acceleration, they were carried upward through layers of atmosphere, until Earth's blue horizon curved below them. Once docked to Salyut 1, their new home, life began to settle into a rhythm. Imagine the soft hum of life support systems around you, the occasional beep of instruments, and the subtle vibrations of machinery that were constant companions. Every action required adjustment. Turning a page in a floating notebook meant careful control. Every sip of water was a delicate dance with surface tension, and every movement had to be thought out to avoid drifting off into an unintended corner. Each day was a mix of scientific experiments, system maintenance, and moments of quiet observation. The cosmonauts studied how plants grew in microgravity, monitored the station's environment, and conducted medical checks on themselves. Their meals were freeze-dried packets, rehydrated with water, and eaten with small utensils designed to work in zero gravity. Crumbs were carefully managed to avoid clogging air filters or equipment. Despite the challenges, there was a certain peace in the routine, the slow passing of time marked by the Earth revolving below, the rhythm of orbit bringing sunrise every 90 minutes. But as their mission neared its end, the quiet hum of life inside the station was about to be shattered, not by noise or fire, but by a silent and invisible danger. On June 29, 1971, the crew prepared to return to Earth, but in the moments following separation from the station, a valve designed to equalize pressure between the cabin and the vacuum of space suddenly opened. Imagine the sudden loss of air pressure, the invisible atmosphere pouring out into the emptiness beyond the spacecraft walls. Without enough air to breathe, their bodies began to lose consciousness within seconds. The silence inside the capsule was complete, deeper than any silence experienced on Earth. Recovery teams waited anxiously for communication, but none came. This tragedy marked the first and only time humans have died in space itself, beyond the protection of Earth's atmosphere. The aftermath was a somber period of investigation and reflection. Imagine the painstaking process of redesigning spacecraft to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. The sacrifices of Dobrovolsky, Partsayev, and Volkov became a poignant reminder of the thin line between life and death in space, and the extraordinary courage required to push beyond our terrestrial limits. Throughout history, progress has often been paid for with hard lessons. As you imagine their journey, consider the loneliness of space, the vast, empty void outside the fragile shell of their spacecraft. Yet, their mission contributed to vital improvements that have made spaceflight safer for all who followed. Reflect for a moment on the contrast between the warmth of your own room and the cold silence of space where Soyuz 11 met its fate. With every breath, we are connected to the Earth below, a vibrant, living planet spinning quietly in the dark. The story of Soyuz 11 reminds us that even in the vastness of space, human life is fragile, precious, and always worth protecting. And as you settle deeper into this reflection, allow yourself to be carried gently by the quiet of space, the soft hum of distant stars, and the slow, steady pulse of human courage reaching beyond the sky. Imagine yourself stepping into the softly lit corridors of the International Space Station. The walls around you gleam under the muted artificial lights. Smooth metal surfaces punctuated by panels of switches, digital displays, and sealed compartments. These microorganisms, too small to see without a microscope, cling quietly to the station's surfaces. The handrails you grasp, the buttons you press, even the fabric of the seats. In this microgravity environment, where water droplets float and air currents dance without gravity's guidance, these tiny life forms have adapted in remarkable ways. The biofilm it creates is a slimy, translucent city, a complex matrix where cells communicate chemically, sharing resources and defending their territory from invaders. These microbial cities can form on critical systems such as water recycling units and ventilation filters, sometimes clogging or degrading equipment vital to the station's function. They hitch rides on the astronauts themselves, carried from one module to another on clothing, skin, and equipment. Each genetic sequence provides clues. How has microgravity altered their behavior? Do mutations occur more rapidly? And fungi cling to metal surfaces, braving extremes of temperature, vacuum, and intense cosmic radiation. Their survival challenges our understanding of life's boundaries, hinting at possibilities of microbial life enduring on spacecraft traveling to distant worlds. These shifts remind us of the deep connection between human health and the unseen microbial world. Can these bacteria survive the harsh conditions of space travel itself? The air feels recycled, cool and filtered, yet carrying a faint scent, clean, yet tinged with the unmistakable presence of human habitation in a sealed environment. Bacteria cannot rely on the gentle pull of gravity to find nutrients or settle. Instead, they drift, cluster, and find niches in corners and crevices. Each finding adds a quiet chapter to our understanding of life's persistence. And could these hardy life forms be the first seeds of life on worlds far beyond Earth? Their survival depends on adhesion's sticky biofilms that protect and anchor them against the constant circulation of filtered air and the movements of astronauts. Their growth rates can accelerate. Their ability to withstand antibiotics strengthens. Some even display increased virulence, posing potential health risks. The immune systems of astronauts, meanwhile, are often subdued by the stresses of spaceflight, creating a delicate dance between host and microbe. Invisible to your eyes, colonies of bacteria thrive. Consider the peculiar challenges they face. Unlike Earth, where gravity helps fluids settle and air move predictably, the station's environment is one of suspended particles and unpredictable airflow. Imagine zooming in, shrinking down to microscopic scale, where a single bacterium becomes a world unto itself. Intriguingly, studies have found that the behavior of these microbes changes in microgravity. Imagine the daily routine of astronauts who meticulously clean and disinfect surfaces to keep microbial growth in check. Yet, despite their best efforts, bacteria persist. Scientists on Earth eagerly await samples returned from the station, analyzing the DNA of these resilient microbes. This mystery extends beyond the station's walls. On the station's exterior, bacteria picture the implications. If microbes can survive and adapt in these harsh conditions, what does it mean for planetary protection? How do we prevent contamination of other planets? Back inside, astronauts sometimes experience subtle health effects, mild skin irritations, slight respiratory sensitivities, and changes in their microbiomes, the complex communities of bacteria living on and within their bodies. Consider the patient, careful work of microbiologists on Earth, peering through microscopes at slides filled with these floating colonies, cataloging species, and observing their adaptations over time. And so, as you picture these microscopic companions, floating alongside astronauts in the vastness of space, imagine the silent resilience of life itself, a constant thread woven into human exploration. Now, imagine stepping aboard the Mir space station, a labyrinth of interconnected modules orbiting Earth at roughly 28,000 kilometers per hour. Inside, Russian cosmonaut Valery Polyakov embarked on an extraordinary journey living in microgravity for 437 consecutive days, an endurance test of mind and body unlike any other. The absence of gravity transforms every motion. Turning over in sleep requires a gentle push. Stretching limbs drifts you slowly across the cabin, and even the simplest movements must be carefully controlled. Picture waking in this unique environment. Your body feels weightless, floating gently in your sleeping bag tethered to prevent you from drifting into delicate equipment. The morning light outside the station has windows, a constant series of sunrises every 90 minutes casts a cool glow on the cramped quarters. Picture him strapping onto a treadmill with harnesses, his body pulled gently downward by elastic bands to simulate gravity's resistance. Running in place, The rhythmic pounding of feet is replaced by controlled, restrained movement. Imagine rehydrating soup or mashed potatoes with warm water from a pouch, tasting flavors muted compared to Earth's vibrant meals. These activities provide purpose and engagement, a connection to earthly knowledge and future exploration. Special treats arrive rarely of fresh fruit or a small celebration food offering moments of joy. Imagine the quiet hours before sleep, the soft hum of life support systems, the vast blackness outside punctuated by the glow of distant stars and Earth's vibrant colors. Polyakov's journals reveal moments of loneliness, contemplation, and a profound shift in perspective. Time stretches and contracts, and the Earth below becomes a fragile oasis. These moments of connection are vital, reminders of home and the world beyond the station's metallic walls. Resistance machines mimic weightlifting, their mechanisms designed to maintain muscle and bone density. These brief respites offer warmth and human connection amid the clinical environment. His time aboard Mir expanded scientific understanding and paved the way for future missions deeper into space. The station's confined spaces, the unchanging view of Earth below, and the steady hum of machinery form a soothing backdrop to a remarkable chapter of exploration. The station's suction toilets provide another novelty, using airflow to pull waste away, an unfamiliar technology compared to earthly plumbing. Polyakov's body slowly adapts to the microgravity environment. Bones lose calcium, muscles weaken, vision shifts. Each task, though repetitive, is vital for survival, an unending rhythm that connects the cosmonaut to the pulse of the station. These changes underscore the challenges of prolonged space habitation. Polyakov's waking ritual begins with slow, deliberate movements. The constant orbit, the endless sunrises and sunsets, and the sealed environment create a timeless bubble where structure is essential. Floating in place, he reaches for his toothbrush, dipping it carefully into a pouch of water, the droplets floating in spherical shapes as they pass through his mouth. The sight of Earth's swirling weather patterns, lightning storms flashing below, and auroras shimmering near the poles inspire or even after months of orbit. These sights provide moments of transcendence, a gentle reminder of the beauty that surrounds human endeavor. The sensation is strange, lacking gravity's familiar guidance, and the act requires patience. Maintaining hygiene is a delicate balance. Without running water, rinsing becomes an exercise in precision, using minimal liquid to avoid floating droplets that could damage sensitive electronics. Exercise fills a large part of Polyakov's day, nearly 2 hours each morning and evening. These workouts are more than physical maintenance. They are a psychological anchor, a daily ritual that segments time in a world where the usual markers of day and night are blurred. Meals aboard Mir are simple, often freeze-dried or thermostabilized. Amid these routines, Polyakov tended to scientific experiments, growing plants in hydroponic gardens, monitoring physiological changes, and contributing to studies on human adaptation to long-term spaceflight. Leisure time is spent watching films, listening to music, or communicating with mission control and loved ones via delayed radio links. Isolation is a constant companion. Medical monitoring is continuous. Sensors track vital signs, bone density, and muscle mass, providing real-time data to ground teams. Yet, amid monotony, there is wonder. The daily maintenance of this station, the quiet checks of cables, filters, and systems becomes a meditative practice. Special occasions punctuate the long mission. Birthdays are marked with simple celebrations, heartfelt messages from Earth, and shared moments of camaraderie. Valery Polyakov's mission stands as a testament to human endurance, the capacity to adapt and persist in extraordinary circumstances. As you imagine this prolonged orbit, feel the slow passage of time, the steady rhythms, and the quiet courage required to endure. As we draw this quiet voyage to a close, imagine yourself once again aboard the International Space Station, floating gently in the endless expanse of space. The soft hum of machinery surrounds you, the steady rhythm of life above the earth continuing without pause. You've glimpsed the hidden challenges of daily life. In microgravity, the strange sensation of waking up with limbs adrift, the necessity of rigorous exercise to keep the body strong, the peculiar flavors and textures of space food. You've traveled back in time to the tragic and heroic story of Soyuz 11, a solemn reminder of the risks that come with pushing beyond our earthly bounds. You've wandered through the invisible realm of microbes thriving in the station's metal embrace, their resilience a subtle echo of life's tenacity. And you've shared in the extraordinary endurance of cosmonauts like Valery Polyakov, who transformed isolation and confinement into a testament of human will. Now, as you settle deeper into relaxation, let these reflections ease your mind. The hardships of space life remind us how profoundly we are shaped by our environment, how much we rely on gravity's gentle pull, the warmth of Earth's atmosphere, and the familiar cadence of day and night. Yet, through all these challenges, there is wonder the awe of Earth's vibrant blue swirling beneath you, the quiet poetry of stars scattered across the velvet void, and the fragile yet enduring thread of life that connects us all. Feel the rhythm of your own breath, steady and slow, matching the silent orbit of the station. Let the vastness of space invite your thoughts to drift softly, like stardust carried on a gentle cosmic breeze. And as your eyelids grow heavy, remember, though the life aboard the ISS may seem harsh and strange, it is also a remarkable chapter in humanity's story, a quiet adventure unfolding above us, carried on the dreams of those who dared to reach beyond. Sleep now, cradled by the calm mystery of space, and know that wherever you journey on Earth or among the stars, a gentle pulse of life continues, steady and enduring. Good night.